Let's take a look at some simple unit conversion practice for some parts of quantum physics, specifically the photoelectric effect. Let's make one thing clear right at the beginning. 1 electron volt is equal to 1.6 times 10 to the power of negative 19 joules. Let me use... All right, now, it is important to understand that we can use this to convert between joules to electron volts and vice versa. For example, let's go ahead and convert 3.6 times 10 to the power of negative 10 joules into electron volts. Well, the key over here is to understand that 1 electron volt is equal to the number that is given, 1.6 times 10 to the power of negative 19. And since we're going from joules to electron volts, we have to get rid of the unit joules itself. So 3.6 times 10 to the power of negative 10 is multiplied, in joules, is multiplied by 1 electron volts, which is the new unit that we want, divided by and how much is 1 electron volt. So 1 electron volt is technically equal to 1.6 times 10 to the power of negative 19 joules. This way, the joules get canceled out, and the new unit is electron volts. So you have to divide 3.6 times 10 to the power of negative 10 by 1.6 times 10 to the power of negative 19. Let me just check one thing. So here, what you're going to get is 10 to the power of negative 10 is divided by 10 to the power of negative 19. So you get 10 to the power of negative 10 plus 19. And so what you get is 10 to the power of positive 9. You can then divide 3.6 and 1.6 together. 2.25 times 10 to the power of 9 electron volts. Let's try another number, B. Let's convert 6.7 times 10 to the power of negative 19 joules into electron volts. Again, same process. You have to divide this by 1.6 times 10 to the power of negative 19 joules. Just so that the joules can cancel out, the new unit is going to be in electron volts. 6.7 divided by 1.6 gives us 4.187 electron volts. And the two powers, the 10 to the power of negative 19 and 10 to the power of negative 19, cancel out, because whenever two powers are getting divided, you can assume that their powers get basically subtracted. So negative 19 minus 19 changes that into a positive, and 10 to the power of negative 19 plus 19 is simply 10 to the power of 0, which is just 1. Now, how about if you want to convert electron volts back into joules? For example, C, let's convert 2.5 electron volts into joules. This time, you have to multiply this by a fraction that will get rid of the electron volts. Now, 2.5 electron volts should be multiplied by 1 joule, and we know that 1 joule is technically sorry about that. You know that 1 electron volt is technically going to be 1.6 times 10 to the power of negative 19 joules. So basically, all you have to do is change this electron volt to the amount of joules that is in 1 electron volt. So 2.5 times 1.6 times 10 to the power of negative 19, and that will give us 4 times 10 to the power of negative 19 joules. That is the amount of joules that is in 2.5 electron volts. Moral of the story, if you want to convert from electron volts into joules, you just multiply by 1.6 times 10 to the power of negative 19. If you want to go from joules into electron volts, you should divide by 1.6 times 10 to the power of negative 19, and that's it. Thank you for watching.